My name is Fidelis Kabwiri. I'm on Senga, both parents actually. A father of 3, a set of twins, and beautiful baby boy. I'm a practicing architect here in Zambia. Aside that, what is called a side hustle, I sell water. And by selling water, I don't mean the waterala, or I sell water in bulk, using water bowsers. Aside that, I'm also the president of the Zambia Institute of Architects and president of the Rotary Club of Maluba. And I play soccer, of which I'm a chairperson for our soccer team. My journey is pretty funny. I'm always saying my older brother, who's an architect, copied from me. When I was still in primary school, he had enrolled at the university. So whenever he comes back, he would show me all his drawings. And I think at the back of my mind, I was always admiring what he was doing and how the artistic impressions of what they were doing in school were looking like. So fast forward, we enrolled into university. I studied from the Copperbelt University, and I had 3 options. And the first somehow was architecture. I selected to do the program. I didn't have a smooth journey in university. I had a challenge with one course, which threw me out of university for like a year. So I took that year to go to Botswana, where I stayed, I think, for almost a year. And whilst there, I was staying with the same older brother of mine, who was an architect. I would go with him at his practice, and I would practice. And by then, I had already decided that I'm done with architecture. I'm going to be an accountant now. I even enrolled, at that time, I think it was called NATEC. I don't know what it's called now. To say as a beginning, I think I'll start with NATEC, then proceed. But having stayed away from home for the duration, one, I think I didn't like the idea of walking out and you don't have friends, or going out and you feel like a total stranger, people speaking a language that you can't understand. At that point, I made a decision to say, whatever happens, I am going to go back home, work at home, and try and develop the country. And during that period, I also saw architecture at a different scale, and I kind of understood it differently. So I went back to school, and shockingly, I continued with architecture. I forgot about accountants. No regrets. I still think it was a good decision to not be an accountant. I graduated from the Copperbelt University. I joined a practice here. The starting with architecture is hard. If you compare with your friends that were studying the different programs, you find that they tend to escalate with their careers at a very fast pace. And for us architects, it's always a struggle. And by struggle, I mean financially, because I don't think we have the best wages when you're starting, which was hard. You know, you're still living with your parents. At some point, you still have to go back and ask for transport money every so often. But as you grow in your career, you start realizing that your value increases, and the amount of responsibilities that your people are giving you are increasing, and the respect in whatever firm that you're working with is also increasing. Before you know it, things become much lighter than they were when starting. I continued with education. I went to the University of Pretoria, where I studied project management in construction. Came back, and no, let me rewind a bit. So after that, I changed a few firms, architecture firms. Eventually landed myself in a firm where I was made to be the one running the office, because the principal architects were not staying in the country. One of them was, I think, on the Copperbelt. So they entrusted me with the office. We grew that office. We did quite some nice jobs, I think, still working at that firm. One of them, I think, is the library at NIPA. I don't know if you know that project, yes. I was attached to that project while I was working for that firm. And Livingstone Airport as well. We took over from another firm, and I think we did the project management during the construction phase of it, and a few changes that we made then. I learned quite a lot at that practice. When it was time to leave the practice, I was called by a veteran architect, Mr. Lisulo Walia. He did quite a number of big buildings in Zambia. I think Godfrey House is one of the many buildings that he did, and a lot of other parastatal buildings around the country. So with him, it was learning the industry at a different level because, one, he was the president of the institute at that time, and he looked at the practice differently, and he wanted the best for the professionals that were under the Zambia Institute of Architects. And I think that's what got me and always made me think and realize that it's up to us to make the industry better. It's up to us to try and give some input to ensure that the communities out there are living in better spaces and the life that people are living are better because of architecture. So unfortunately, he passed on. Then I went on to study practice, where I am still practicing up to now. In fact, this is our 10th year in practice now at L'Atelier Asymmetric. It's been quite a good journey starting. I remember the first time we started in an office like this one. I had to get my office desk at home to take it to the office. Whenever you're calling a client will ask you if you're in the toilet because of the vacuum that was being given. And something I learned, I think, across the line is always don't burn bridges. Because for us to even buy furniture in that office, we got a commission, a job to do something. But for us to get a job, they needed a company with a big CV. So we had to go in with a company that had experience. And I went to the company that I used to work for and said, can we do this project together? So those guys entrusted me to do everything. I did everything. We bid for the job, got the job. We eventually got paid after finishing the job. Got a check, took to the people that employed me, I used to work for, took the half or rather part of their payment. And they said, no, you can keep this money as a way of us saying thank you for what you did and for you to get started. And all that money I got and I took to one of the furniture shops to finish the offices. With time, I think I realized I needed to also grow and understand the profession better. I went to the University of Pretoria, where I did a master's in project management, like I said earlier, with a bias to construction. And this is where we are now. I think the most important one for me personally is don't shortchange anyone, all right? Be as honest as you can be in your dealings, and people will protect you. Then I spoke about my challenges academically and through the career earlier. At the end of the day, it's about you, right? People are going to laugh, people are going to praise you, people are going to do what or say whatever they want to say. But it's what you want and where you want to be. And if you push, there will be people who will always support you, and there will always be people who will try and bring you down. But you constantly have to keep on moving and improving on yourself. So every day, wake up and tell yourself, what can I do? How can I do things differently and better? And ensure that at least I move even just a step forward to where I was yesterday. Yeah. And another thing I think I believe in, it's actually a Nsenga proverb, chuma ni vantu, right? Be good to people. And in return, people will be good to you. You won't even know who will be protecting you without even you knowing. Look at me, having access to this seat to a table. It's because I know Janice, and I don't know why I deserve to be on the seat to the table, because this is a high-profile project you guys are running. And through our interactions and our laughing, she must have seen at least 1% of good in me that has gotten me access to this. And that's it. So let's be good to people. Let's always make good friendships, and let's support each other. Yeah. Reading is, no, not start reading, sorry. The book that I hold dear to my heart, and I think that has made some great impact, not on me, but on the family, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And mostly because growing up, I think I should have had some of those lessons from the book. Yes, I come from a family where my mom was very enterprising, like an entrepreneur. My dad had 8-to-5 job, very good at it, very brilliant, a bookworm. So I had a combination of both, the work life and how you could always try and do other small things to try and raise more money. So with that book, I've taken it down to my children who are 8 years old to try and read it together and see what lessons together we could get from that. We have our own piggy banks, which we use to save coins, and every time we raise a certain amount of money, we are going to decide, what are we going to use this money for? Are we going to go to Toys R Us, or are we going to go and have lunch somewhere, go on holiday? Or are we going to use it to grow the little money that we have? And you could see that impact is slowly spreading to their friends and cousins within the family when it comes to financial decisions. For instance, when they are looking for something to buy and they're asking you to buy something, they'll look at the price and they'll be like, is this worth it? What can we find a better deal, or can we see if we can raise much more money, and the excess money we can now go and buy that thing. So I think it's a book that I would urge anyone who hasn't read to find time and read it. There's so many financial lessons that you can learn, especially in our types of education system where there's very little focus on financial literacy. Yeah.